your name.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I
There
forgot.
we go. Hello, everybody. Hi, how's it going? We're back. We're back again. Doing this thing. I have a whole new background now. Including
With a cute
including a
cat.
cat, apparently. Um, but yeah, so I'm excited. So we're back, and we're gonna do this thing, and it's going to be, it's fine. Everything's fine.
It's wonderful.
Everything's fine. I'm totally not unprepared for today.
You better not
It's
be. We were told that it's a lore dump.
it
Yeah,
is a
this is
lore
like
dump.
a lot of pressure on you,
Today
man.
today is going to go very quickly or very slowly. It all kind of depends on how you guys navigate this and the questions that you may or may not ask. So when last we left our band of time travelers, they had found their way into the one by one found their way into the basement of the Red Dragon Inn in Saul's Rest on the continent of Solanel. Each of them hailing from a different era in Gravendale's long and storied history. The only two in common being Chapel, played by Brian, and Hale, played by David. Um, Found themselves in a strange sort of middle space, in a place between, being talked at, I guess, by an individual that referred to himself as the Magister, stating that existence was at stake and he needed to make sure that they were, in fact, the right people, putting them through a series of tests, one of which where there was definitely no mimics, uh, one of which that's still my favorite one. Uh,
It would be.
Sorry, just I love the trope. I love the trope of like that's a chair, but that chair is suspicious. And so I'm going to investigate the shit out the chair. It's just a fucking chair. Anyway, um they ran afoul of the adorably terrible Nesh Nesh.
I'm
And
sorry. Its name was Floof.
the adorably terrible Nesh Nesh, whom you wound up having to kill because it kept attempting to psychically burrow your brains out. Yes, Jess?
Can I just say I appreciate in a way that the cute but ultimately terrifying thing did not randomly become a pet that we had to save as in maybe other games I've played. Not saying that it isn't worth saving random
It was,
things, but
it was entirely on the table as a possibility.
We were
Uh,
going there. We were
and that
going
was a
there.
direction that was being headed, but
and it hurt us.
it definitely did not go that way. It hurt you when it perceived that getting licked without consent as a threat, which I mean I can relate to personally. Um,
Do people lick you randomly off?
Without consent, I mean I have children.
That's different.
Is it? I definitely yell at my son David for licking me without my consent.
It happens.
Now, admittedly, I don't,
Mine.
hurt them when they do that, but I do very firmly inform them that they ought not be doing that.
Yes. Also, David, you're welcome for clarifying beforehand that it was my son David. I thought it might be awkward if I said something about David licking me.
No, I figured it was your son.
You
Not-
figured, but everybody
Our
else
listeners
might
may not have figured.
Your brother-in-law should not be licking you.
No.
Without
That's
consent.
a whole level of awkward that I am
Definitely not.
With or without, maybe. With or without.
we're gonna move on from this sort of conversation and get into the game.
You're welcome.
At any
See, I
rate-
can make it awkward just like
That's just
Adam can.
wow. All right. Anyway,
You're all welcome. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
and then dealing with a weird sort of vertical wind tunnel capped with flame, which appeared to be some kind of strangely lethal team building exercise.
Worst trust fall ever.
Yeah, worst trust fall ever. I feel that's an Acquisitions Incorporated mini game waiting to happen. At any rate, and eventually you found yourselves in a quiet little chapel meditative space, um, wherein you were met by the Magister himself, and found in the course of this found a series of statues, which some of you seem to think are definitely you guys, each of you, and some of you you don't see it. You don't see it. I personally do not remember who saw what, but
I have it written down. It's fine.
and you
It
did
was-
run into a much older looking version of Chapel who doesn't seem to have any capability of speech or recognition for any of you. And it was when the group that had kind of dipped down around the outside and then came up from underneath came into the kind of garden area that we left our game, and the group of you are now in the meditative garden, um, with or without tea, depending on your particular want. Um,
It was myself and Tuppy, by the way, who had recognized the statues as
that's
us.
right. That's right. It was you and
And my
Tuppy.
first question to the Magister while we were waiting for the rest of the group was, what's up with the statues?
So we're gonna pick up from right there, right before the rest of the group comes through the south gate. We're gonna pick up from there, where Lyle asks the question, "What the fuck is up with that?"
What the fuck is up with that?
And you see the Magister with his tea. Ah, yes. Well, you wondered why you specifically. I may have had a clue.
What?
This structure, a lot of this is going to explaining all of this is something that you are definitely not going to want me to do twice. So answer to your question and answer to other questions are going to be related, so perhaps we could wait till the rest of your group arrives.
Very well.
In that moment, the door opens, the rest of you step through, and you see the quiet little glade. I can actually pop it up on Roll20, because I still have the power to do so. Wait, no I don't. Wait, yes I do. Hang on.
You still have the power to do so. Is someone going to take away your power at some point?
No, it was more of a I had moved things around so I couldn't find it for a moment. And so I'm like, no, I don't have the power because it's not there anymore. Wait, yes I do. Here it is.
I remember. Alright. I love you, but I need you to get out of the way.
Alrighty, let me rearrange the map so it is fully in view for our viewers. That is not gonna fly. That is super not gonna fly. So yes, you're in this kind of quiet little pastoral setting. What am I looking at? There we go. Pastoral little setting. The Magister, as the door opens up, kind of turns to the rest of you as you step inside, and he stands and kind of gestures somewhat grandly, and he says, "Ah, welcome, welcome, friends. We've been awaiting you." And as he kind of
Yeah, he won't
gestures,
answer questions till y'all are in here, till you all are in here. So let's get this show on the road.
He kind of
have
gestures to the table, and as he does so, several more chairs kind of grow up out of the ground. And he says, "Please take a seat. Would any of you care to have some tea?"
Hale will take some tea. He's not one to say no to the luxuries of life when they present themselves.
Sure.
Yes, that's lovely.
Excellent. He grabs there's this tea set, which is just kind of there now, and starts filling cups. While he's doing that, I would like all of you, one by one, to go ahead and roll a D100, and I will call on you to tell me what they are in just a moment. All right. Chapel, what did you roll?
I got a 14.
Okay.
No, I got an 85. That was Anissa that got a 14. Sorry.
Got it. Okay. Hale.
I got a 57.
Excellent. Lyle.
83.
Awesome. And Melisandus.
18.
Okay. And Anissa, you had 14?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Filing that away. So he finishes pouring your tea. And he distributes the cups for those of you that requested tea. And he says, "Well, I imagine you have a great many questions. First and foremost, allow me to introduce myself. I am the Magister, and you are standing inside... I refer to it as Arcastorm. It's an acronym. It stands for the Astral Relativity Continuum and Study of Time, Obfuscating Realities, and Magic."
You want to give that to us again, but a little slower?
Astral Relativity Continuum and Study of Time, Obfuscating Realities, and Magic.
Out of character, can you put that in a chat?
Right?
Yep, sure can.
Yes.
Like,
Our lovely Phoenix is going, yeah, writing that down for...
Because my character is probably way smarter than I am, and
thank
Brian's
you.
head is tapioca.
I only remember the word obfuscating.
Got it.
Admittedly, when I first was workshopping the name, it was obscuring, but for whatever reason, time and obscuring just don't roll off the tongue very well, so I couldn't say it quickly. It might just be a me thing, I don't know. So we got to obfuscating. Because apparently I just like to throw extra syllables and things.
Obfuscation is a good word.
It is. It's a lovely word. So yes, but Arcastorm is fine. Otherwise, it gets to be a little bit wordy every single time you try to mention it. This is a place sort of out of time, to speak. It is not affected by the time flow. You'll find that here you will not age. You will not notice the ravages of time. Your body does not require sustenance for those of you who do intake sustenance, but you will find that if you do not imbibe sustenance, your body will continue to feel hunger and thirst, although it will not affect you adversely if you do not attend to these particular needs. It is from here that I perform my duties, which I guess brings me to the point. What is your familiarity with time as it relates to history?
What?
That it passes, and as things happen, time passes, and we use it as reference from when something happened.
Precisely.
that what
But
you're going for?
no, it is absolutely. That is precisely what I'm going for. But here's the thing: how do you know that things happen if there's nobody around to remember it?
That's what records are for.
Right. But
Would
who writes the
somebody-
records?
The people who were there? Why is this important?
It's
no
very
one was-
important, and I'll get to it.
If no one was there, then
Right. It's just
like including
artifacts
the
in
animals.
Right. It's just artifacts in the dirt. Nobody really knows what it is. Nobody knows what it did. Nobody knows what it was. I can hold something up, and he holds up this cylindrical object that's about an inch, or maybe 2 inches long, and maybe about an inch in diameter. It's made out of some kind of material that none of you have ever seen. And he's like, if I held this up and gave you absolutely no context as to what this is, you'd have no idea what purpose it may have served. And he puts it down on the table. With nobody around to remember what this thing is, what purpose does it have? What function does it have?
That being said, we could divine the purpose of it through study.
Precisely. But we'll never know, will we? We'll guess, we'll conjecture, we'll surmise an awful lot, but we won't necessarily know, will we?
Well, depending upon one's mastery over the domain of time, I posit that one day I may very well be able to do such a thing.
That is entirely possible. However, at this point in time, and he points again at the cylinder, tell me what this is.
I pick it up.
You pick it up.
I smell it.
It smells a little weird. You've smelled similar things in like an alchemical lab, but nothing quite perfect. You're also getting a bit of a like there's a chemical smell to it, but there's also kind of a weird, unpleasant acridness to it. You see that it has, as you're kind of looking at it, like it's that cylinder, but you see on one end it's empty, but on the other end it's capped. Like it's not capped, there's just a bottom to it. It's smooth like metal, but it's flexible.
Jimmy,
I
are we
lick it.
trying to take a knowledge check of some
Uh,
kind?
You can, I mean, anybody who wishes to
Wow.
can certainly make a knowledge history.
Lyle?
While you lick it, it
Hey,
is.
we're in 5e, not Pathfinder. What, you want a history check?
I'm sorry, just a history check. I was playing Pathfinder last night. Be nice. You're gonna have to call out what you roll because I can't see the numbers.
16.
I sadly got an 8 for my history.
9.
Hale also got a 16.
Okay.
And even a good roll.
I only got 14.
Okay. None of you have any idea what this is. Lyle, it kind of tastes the way it smells. Actually,
Tastes
as you
like-
lick it, you see the Magister kind of make a slight face. And he says, I wouldn't do that too often.
Tastes like metal and alchemy.
You're not far off. He kind of holds his hand out for the item.
I give it back. Licked side down.
This, he holds it up. Doesn't seem to bother him that it's licked. He holds it up again. I could even tell you specifically what this is and what it was used for, but you would still have very little context as to its purpose. For the record, it is a film canister, and it held film for a camera. And he puts it down.
These are words that mean nothing to me. May I have some more tea, please?
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
I'm like, there's no context for those words.
None whatsoever,
Yeah,
as I said.
So, right, cool.
that just
The
means it-
statues that looked like us. What the fuck is up with that?
I'm getting to that. I needed to establish context, or lack thereof.
By the way, Jess, I
Time-
think we get some echo from your headphones. I'm not sure what that is. Is that just me? Or is there
I
like a
think it might
slight...
be
That's
coming through
weird.
Zoom and Roll20. Oh, no.
Oh,
It's still echoey.
I'm talking through Roll20, which is a leftover from when I was helping our children play a game. I forgot that was happening. I just logged back in to it, so I will try to figure out how to make that stop.
I can walk you through it.
Because I couldn't get it to stop that time.
If you
There we go. And mute. There we go.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, Roll20 just also messed up I think is the thing that just messed up my Zoom. I can no longer make the camera work, so we're having fun over here.
So in Roll20, if you go to the settings thing in the far top right corner,
I'm there.
all right, click on the audio and video
I am.
section. You there? There is a way to, and I don't exactly remember what it is, but I think it's display. You can go none and none.
Like others can see both audio, video.
Yeah.
So you want to do none and none, and then you have to click reconnect down at the bottom.
Yep. Okay. And that should release your sound and camera from Roll20.
Thank you.
And then you'll probably have to go back into Zoom and reset your stuff.
Yeah, I'm working on the Zoom reset. It says go into settings and find another camera. What other camera? I only have one.
Anyway, while Jess struggles with that,
it's fun.
He pours more tea. All right, so we all exist because of context, because something remembers us. That is the foundation of our specific existence. Not just our existence, this whole world, this whole realm, the whole multiverse exists because somebody acknowledges and remembers our existence.
Okay.
Fascinating.
It is my job to seek out inconsistencies, to seek out the things that don't fit within the continuity, are anachronistic, because they potentially could cause paradox. The paradox would, for lack of a better term, cause the rememberer to forget or start forgetting. And if enough things are forgotten, it could potentially start a sort of a cascade effect. And everything would be gone.
Hale raises his hand after sipping on his tea and asks, quick question. Isn't the premise that existence is based on being remembered, isn't the supposition then that there is always something in the future that remembers something from the past? And therefore there's an endless cycle of remembering that goes on and on and on? That seems far too unlikely to me.
I'm with Hale.
What seems unlikely?
Yes.
All of it? It's very big for my brain.
Are we going to get to an answer about the statue soon?
Yes, we're going to get to an answer about the statue soon. Okay. Here's a better way to try to explain it. We exist because something remembers that we exist. That thing, that creature, could be, well, it could be determined as a creature. It could be. Anyway, it is an entity known as Adam is trying to read this. Tyraz Vermori. Tyraz Vermori.
Put it in the chat, please.
Yep.
You're saying there's a being of time that remembers our existence versus Hale remembers me, and therefore I exist.
Well, it's kind of both.
Anissa raises an eyebrow like, really? But you can't see my face.
That's fair.
I mean, I disagree entirely, but sure.
We exist because Tyraz Vermori remembers us. Not just us, everything. Everywhere, all of the time.
Assuming then that you have brought us here from our various time streams, does that mean that this process is endangered?
Yes, it does. You see, there's a sort of a cascade effect that is happening, as the cascade effect that I mentioned earlier. That cascade effect, for lack of a better term, is the forgetting.
I don't think you're very good at naming things. No offense.
So what happens in this forgetting? Is it? I mean, it honestly sounds like something is going to erase Taraz Moreau's memory or kill it if such a grand omniscient thing can be killed. And I assume that's why we're here. So there's a lot of things I don't know. He takes another sip of tea and kind of goes like this.
Hale, are you drunk?
He's drinking tea. I don't think that would be doable.
That I would. Word that I was. Whatever.
Would that you were?
Word that I was. Were. Listen, my
Lyle
intelligence
pulls out
is
a
10.
flask and offers it to
Hale gladly takes it.
All right. To simplify,
please.
the thing on which all of our existence depends is forgetting that we exist. And to forget our existence means we stop existing. I believe the reason for this forgetting is deliberate. There's some force behind it. And unfortunately, because of ridiculous reasons, I cannot directly intervene.
So we stop this force that is essentially causing the thing that makes us all exist from forgetting about us, therefore making us not exist. Premise is very simple. I assume that the methods that we do to do that are going to be very complex.
Yes and no. In some cases, it may be very straightforward. In some cases, it may be very complicated. But to the question of the statues.
Yes, thank you.
They are you because you have already done this task. You are currently doing this task, and you will do this task. Those statues were not you until the group of you stepped into this building. But
How come
they were
Tuppy and I can
always
see
you.
it?
But they were always you. Because time is not linear.
Yeah. Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. How come Tuppy and I can see that they're us and nobody else could see that they're us?
You somehow, not exactly sure how, were able to kind of see beyond the... Trying to find... as you say, I apparently suck at naming things. We're going to go with the time miasma.
Hey, that's the best name we've come up with so far.
Time is always in flux until it's not. And some people can pierce through that better than others. Sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's practice, sometimes it's a certain level of mental attunement or acuity.
Yeah, it's probably not that last one for me. But
All right, out of character, I'm going, wow, it's kind of like the quantum thing, which is very profound. Anyway.
I may be drawing very heavily on my quantum physics readings for this particular game.
Maybe.
There was a lot of Carl Sagan and Neil Tyson deGrasse that I read prior to this game, and also a
Baby,
fair
I
amount of
need
Doctor
more
Who.
coffee for this. I'm just gonna lean into Lyle's 10 intelligence and
I've been wanting to do a time travel episode of anything for a very long time.
I'm so here for it.
Y'all get to be the beneficiaries of that
It's the very intellectual stuff that brain go squish.
Query.
Yes.
Does plucking us out of time... So the aversion to a paradox, doesn't pulling us out of our regular flow of time constitute one of these paradoxes?
Yes, potentially. However, I have discovered a phenomenon, and I don't fully understand it, but you have to actually spend a significant amount of your life. I can't even say time, because again, passage of time is kind of moot, but your life, your existence, outside of the time flow in order for you to really affect the outcome of the time flow, which is precisely the reason why I need you. Most of my existence has been outside of the time flow. If I were to go and directly intervene, I could drastically change the passage of time. And there is no earthly way or divine way to know how that would affect things to come. It could be for the better, it could be for the worse. It could be for the significantly worse. That's why you're here. Yes,
Hale raises his hand as he takes it, sets down the tea, actually the flask this time, and asks, so at one point Lyle had offered to come back and help me fight the undead horde in order to save their people back in that day. Is that still on the table once we finish saving all of reality?
Yeah,
It
what
would
he
seem
said.
like it wouldn't be if it would create a paradox.
But they would be going, well, you have a better brain than me.
To answer your question, it is not to say that you cannot have an effect on time. However, it is drastic changes that we're looking at. Paradoxes are something a little bit different than what we're talking about here.
Does that mean that my going back wouldn't actually save my people?
It might. It might not. I genuinely don't know. You're going
Lyle
back...
takes the flask back and takes a huge swig.
Your going back will, and doing what you intend to do, will inevitably save lives. How that impacts the future, how that impacts your species as a people, I have no way of knowing.
Hmm.
I'll let you process that a minute. If you have any other questions, there is more, but I've given you a lot, so.
Yeah, what's up with the non-chapel chapel? And I just point, like, nod at the other Warforged.
I don't. He was here. He was here when I arrived. He's been here, and he will continue to be here. He's sort of the custodian of this place. I did not realize that he was your companion chapel until you came into my sphere.
How long have you been here?
Wait, and I look over at the Warforged. So you are me?
It just kind of like it acknowledges that you're looking at it and speaking to it, but it doesn't see like you don't see any kind of recognition. You don't see any kind of anything, and it does not verbalize.
Now, I mean, in a general sense of Warforged looking like other Warforged, but does it, like, as far as the fine detail, look like me?
Yes, it as you're looking at it more closely. Now, here's the thing. It is entirely possible because you were a Warforged. Oh, we lost somebody.
It's Jess has to restart her Zoom. She'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all are gonna see some wonky shit for a minute, but that's okay. Once Jess gets back, we'll.
I'm sorry. I
Jess
tried
is
to
back.
warn.
Oh no, you're
You
back.
did.
You did. It's all good.
I tried to be as smooth and fast as I could to get my computer to behave. The only way I could get it to actually work is to actually, bop out and bop in. So.
No, it's all good.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
And, no,
interrupt.
no,
I
no.
was trying to be subtle.
I was GMing, so I missed it. But you're fine, and everybody's back in their rightful place, so we're good.
I'm sorry to interrupt Chapel's explanation moment.
Yes, sorry. Now, here's the thing. Warforged, in Saul's Rest in particular, they're not quite the assembly line that they are in, like, Eberron or everything like that, but there
Sure.
are a lot, like, in various, like, batches, so to speak, there's a lot of similarities. They're not cookie cutter, but
Gotcha.
there's a lot of similarities. So it is possible that this is part of the same batch that you came from. But looking closely at it, like I'd go with 75% sure this is actually you.
Okay.
And you see the Magister kind of very softly. Yes, he doesn't speak, never has, in my time since I've been here. He's got some, forgive me, some rudimentary sentience. But he's not whole. And I never discovered why. And to answer your question as to how long I have been here again, time is relative, but a very long time.
So you are not the actual creator of this place?
This place existed before I was born. It will continue to exist long after I die.
Do we know who created it?
I have theories. In order to protect the timeline, whomever created it must have known that there would need to be somebody who was closer to the situation, somebody who could monitor things with an eye from a mortal perspective. And so I suspect that they created it not for me, but to fulfill that role. I just happen to be fulfilling that role at this point.
So there let me rephrase. There have been other Magisters?
For Gravendale, I don't know. I don't think so. I think I have been the only one for Gravendale. But there are other places. There are other time flows. There are other versions of Tyrazim Mauri who have their own version of me. who may be completely different than I am, who maybe names things a little better.
I love that. That was Jess. That was not Anissa. That was a throbbing, not an Anissa kind of laugh.
I don't know how Chapel, and he gestures to the Warforged. That isn't you. I don't know how he came to be here. He was here before I got here, and I do not know how he came to be in the state that he is. But perhaps in your time here you will discover that.
Another question. If we're outside of time, yet still
Yes.
our existence depends on this memory of Tyraz, or whatever its name is.
Tyraz Vermori.
That's it. Are we still, for lack of a better phrase coming to mind, wasting time just sitting here drinking tea and that lovely liquor, what was ever in that flask?
That would be whiskey. You're welcome.
Love it.
Let's be fair. You call it whiskey, but it is definitely moonshine. Because where you're from,
said what I said.
where you're from, there wasn't a lot in the way of like whiskey distilling. There was moonshine.
I said what I said.
Anyway, yeah, yes and no. We don't have time is a resource just like anything else, and we don't have unlimited amounts of it. But it's important that you understand the stakes, and it's important that you understand what you're up against. So, in my opinion, based on long years of study, it is worth taking the time to make sure that you do.
Okay, so what exactly is it that you need us to do? Because I'm going to admit, I'm sure you've got onto this, I'm not much of a thinker. I'm more of a point me in a direction so I can stab things.
Well, fortunately for you, that may come in handy at some point, and for me, to that
I
end.
really hope so.
I have isolated 6 instances, specific anomalies, which appear to be sort of, I guess for lack of a better term, infected. Which, if left unattended, will exacerbate the existing problem. I don't know if this infection already existed and somebody is making it worse, or if they created it. But based on what I have seen, there is an intelligence behind this. Who that might be, I couldn't tell you. They may not even know what they're doing risks the destruction of everything. What I need from you is to go into these timelines. Find the source of the infection and destroy it. As it happens, most of the infected timeframes are ones that you are all from.
So just to recap, our goal is to go to these 6 different places, times, if you will, find those infections, cure those infections, and if there is in fact an intelligence behind it, and we discover what that is, maybe stop the intelligence from creating new infections if that is in fact what it is doing. Is that correct?
Well, he said destroy, so...
Destroy, eradicate, cure...
How are we going to know what the source of these infections are?
Well,
Is? Whatever.
Tense is going to be really, really weird for the next foreseeable, so just bear that in mind. How will you know? you've already sort of encountered the phenomenon. It's the time miasma.
Wait, can you refresh me on the time miasma part of this?
That's the
Certainly.
wibbly wobbly stuff.
That's
Timey
the situation where your friend Lyle and Tuppy can see that the statues that adorn my hallways are representations of yourselves, and the rest of you cannot.
Oh, okay, that part. Okay, thank you. That I got that it was the wiggly wimey timey part, but I didn't get how it could possibly
Mm.
connect to what we're moving into.
Is
I have
there
it-
That
some
helps.
is there something that'll make it easier for us to see since it was real hard for us to see
You,
that?
unfortunately, yes and no. Um,
Ugh.
there is, however, that thing is going to be mostly exposure. Learning to know what to look for. I can tell you what it is, unfortunately. I can tell you what it is and what to look for, but I can't understand it for you.
So it'll be easier for me and Tuppy because we've done the thing already.
Correct.
And the more we do the thing, the easier it gets.
Correct.
Cool.
So, to that end, and Schmoopsy, I don't know if you're back or not, but I would like Lyle and Melisandus to make a note. I'm not going to do it even though I'm in control of Tuppy. You have a +1 on saves to penetrate time miasma.
Oh, cool.
So, let's see. Time is in jeopardy. Gotta fix it. Lots of bad things happen if we don't fix it. Any further questions?
No, although I appreciate how after, all of the brain breaking stuff, you finally summarized that in a way that I can understand. So let's go kill stuff.
Or rather save stuff. I really enjoy life. Life is a good thing, and it sounds like if we don't, life will no longer exist.
So let's go kill stuff to save stuff.
Seems to be our plan. I feel I've done that many a times. One quick last question.
Certainly.
How did you pull me out of time if I was dead?
Wait, you were dead?
Pretty sure.
Is that something you truly wish to know?
I know, I'm curious.
I didn't necessarily need to know the hows, because the way you just asked me if I really need to know sounds like it might be a little bit messy. But I have a lot of confusion happening here. And I think it has to do with my life timeline, since we're talking about timelines and such.
Yes, yours was certainly the most convoluted, I will say that. He holds out his hand for yours.
She takes it because apparently that's what I should do.
Okay, and he kind of like, and this is very much like he takes your hand and then he covers it with his other hand and he says, "If you truly wish to know, I will tell you. But I will warn you that sometimes it is better to not know."
I mean, you could tell me, and then maybe if she decides later, uh,
I think
you
this
know,
is her
I
decision to
can
make, Lyle.
I can explain it simply and, stuff.
I understand the concept and the truth behind sometimes it's better to not know. And I may end up living to regret this, but I need to know.
He lets go of your hand. Do you wish to have this conversation here, or do you wish to have it privately?
No offense to all of you. You seem great. We're obviously all going to get to know each other better and try to save our world together. But this is a me moment. And I would like this private. Just
He
Lyle looks very dejected.
he
I'm sorry,
stands and kind of gestures towards in the direction to the south where the kind of contemplation room was,
Mhm.
and says, "Why don't you join me in the meditation room?"
She follows.
I'm just moving them around because I can, because they're kind of like modern day action figures. He
Look, we're down
steps.
there now.
Yep, he
I
steps
mean,
through.
you're not wrong.
Right? Like, I think that's half of the joy for me for Roll20 is the fact that it's basically just modern day action figures. I mean,
We're
let's
just
face
kids
it.
playing with our toys.
Pew, pew,
We
pew.
are. Well, and let's be fair. Like Minecraft is fully just Legos, but digital. Um,
Oh my goodness. Sorry.
so he kind of pulls. He walks into the room with you behind him, and he closes the door behind you. Jess, do you care if the rest of the characters hear what I
No,
have to say?
I don't mind if the player's here.
Okay,
It's just I don't think
the
the
players.
I don't. Anissa does not feel that the characters should necessarily know
Gotcha.
because she doesn't know them well enough to
Yep.
apparently give information that she may or may not regret knowing.
Every entity, every creature has a path, has a story, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Yours had a beginning, and it had a middle, but it never had an end.
Just ending and dying isn't an automatic end.
No. This, and he kind of like he kind of gestures to him, and you kind of get the impression he's talking about like his physical body. This is just a vessel for what's up here. Death is just the end of one particular vessel. But after a point, your consciousness, your soul, if you will, just sort of stopped. It was stuck. I chose you because you're competent, because you're intelligent, because you're accomplished. You ended a world, Anissa. And you ended it kindly.
We didn't
Do you have
really
any
have another
idea
choice.
do you have any idea how few people actually can say that? In all of creation.
I'm not honestly sure if it's something I should be proud of or not. But it was
too big.
necessary.
I know. It's too big for pride. It's too big for shame. You did what you needed to do. Your story wasn't over. I chose you because stories need to end.
This is an opportunity for an end.
This is an opportunity for an end. But, and the reason I hesitated to tell you, I fear this will be the end. Whenever you're done here,
I die again.
and this time it'll be truly over for you.
Does that mean I'm dying in 2 weeks or 25 years? I don't know.
Well, I don't know either. Perhaps it's better to not know.
Oh, I don't really need to know an end date. That is definitely one of those I do not need to know. I've spent my life fighting and expecting and understanding that at some point I'll be done with the fight. Whether it's my choosing or it is taken from me via my life. This is not the first time I have come back to fight again.
Do you know who the greatest heroes are? The ones that really do resonate throughout history.
Well, some would say those are the ones the bards sing of. I suspect it's really the ones that no one almost knows about. Except for the ones who they directly impacted.
It's the ones that fight because it's the right thing to do. They don't want it. They never asked for it. But they do it over and over and over again. Because it needs to be done. History, the books, may not know your name. But I will. And I will never forget.
Unless we don't fix this problem that you just put before us, and then everyone forgets.
Well, I mean, there's that,
everything.
but, I'm just trying to have a moment. I'm sorry,
I wasn't meaning to truly ruin the moment, but I found a little bit of ironic that you're talking about remembering when we're about to deal with this.
Then, even if things go poorly, know that I will remember you, your name, and what you have done until the very last minute that until I am incapable of doing so.
Do you know what my last name is?
Yes, and he says it because Adam doesn't remember what it is.
That's not helpful. I can't use that in gameplay.
Okay. I'm pretty sure somewhere in my notes your character's last name is written down. I will make a concerted effort, and we're talking analog here, like these are paper notes.
Oh yeah, these are paper notes.
I will make a concerted effort to dig through my boxes and find those notes so I can get you your last name.
That'd be cool. I will look on my end. I have a beautiful 2.5 inch, 3 inch, it's a big ass 3-ring binder with all my old character sheets. And I'm 90% sure I've seen it since I lived in this house. When I went to go grab it, when I was building Anissa for this game, cannot find it. No freaking clue. So.
I feel you should just pick a really long Greek name.
She's Grecian from Garnath.
For no reason, but Actually, if you're from Karnath, then you can take a gigantic Slavic or Russian last name.
Actually, I think you were
Ah.
Thrain, Jess.
Was she Thrain?
I thought because that's where the orphanage was in Thrain.
Oh, I must have mixed up the two countries in my head.
Yeah, that's where the orphanage was. Anyway,
Okay, pardon me.
so
Thrain.
you guys return to the group after your moment.
Anissa does not look scarred or destroyed in any way, shape, or form. I'm sorry for the delay, all, but apparently we're in a time vortex, so void. So I took a moment. Ironically, I guess.
Now, I will say, I said I have isolated 6 specific instances. That's not precisely true. I've actually isolated 7. One, I was able to get very specific as to where and at what point they are. And I thought it might serve as a sort of training exercise. But I need to stress that it is going to be very dangerous.
Ow!
Do you have any cool shit that we can take with us that's gonna help us do this stuff?
No, but you can take any cool shit that you find along the way.
Got any information about this incident and why it's so dangerous?
It's an individual, actually. Goes by the name of Harrow. Sort of crops up and appears and disappears over and over and over again throughout not just our time frame, but the multiverse.
Oh, are we
Harrow?
plane traveling as well?
No, not this time. Thankfully. That's a little beyond my ken. Let me be clear. There's the cosmology of Gravendale, which we have the outer planes, we have the lower planes, we have the upper planes, etc., and so on. Like, that sort of planar traveling is one thing, but we're talking a truly alternate universe that this individual is from.
We can't tell them. Goal is to eliminate them or get them so they can't come back to our place.
Everywhere he
Excuse
goes,
me.
he spreads the infection. I don't know. It's difficult for me to say that I don't know something. I don't know how to fix the infection. Whether it's simply a matter of destroying the source or curing it or what, but he is not going to be cooperative.
Lyle, I think you get to help kill somebody.
Thank God. What is he?
Just a man.
I mean, like, is he a fighter? Is he a mage like Mal over there? Is he like a churchy person? What is he? Does he shapeshift?
I guess
You
the
got anything?
best description of him would be spell sword.
Cool.
Question: what makes you think that us 6? I mean, granted, it might be 6 against 1, but I don't know that we might have the capability to deal with a multiverse person who can jump between one and another.
Hale does make a good point. Why were we chosen specifically?
Also, if this is so dangerous and this guy is such a badass, why is that the first thing you're sending us against? Seems kind of like a dick move, my dude.
That was like 3 questions all at once.
With the same purpose, really, though.
To answer them, in order, as I have comprehended them. I don't know that you can necessarily defeat him. Call it a instinct. Why you specifically? Well, judging by how things have transpired, judging by how the statues in my home have altered themselves, I don't know that it could have been anybody but you. And as far as places to go first, you certainly don't have to deal with this first, but you will have to deal with it at some point.
Can you run through the options then? Since
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Adam, readjust where his notes are on the page. Do, 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 do.
gotta stop poking my finger with the needle.
Tap poking your
I do
finger
have
with
to
the
say,
needle.
when he was like, I don't know if you'll survive, it's dangerous, and then you poke your finger, and that just cracked me up.
Right.
I was trying so hard not to like laugh, and then I saw you were laughing too, and I'm like, shit.
The timing on that was damn perfect.
It was pretty good, yeah.
I'm like, don't distract the game. Don't distract the game. Sorry, my new fancy embroidery magazine came in the mail, and it usually comes with a little kit of something. This was one of those from my lovely friends who pitched in for my birthday. One of the long-lasting things is I get this magazine every month or two. So I'm working on. You can't see the lighting's bad, but
Okay.
I started and I pulled out one of my brand new embroidery needles, and I usually use tapestry needles because I've been cross stitching recently, and those you go through holes, so you don't actually. It's a blunt tip versus a pokey tip. So I've been used to like reaching around and touching the tip of my needle. This one's sharp.
Yeah, it's no longer a blunt tipped needle.
It's really sharp because it's embroidery versus cross stitching. It hurts. So,
All right, Magister, hit me with our 6 incidents.
what do we got?
So, each instance takes place in one of the major epics. The exact circumstances, I am not 100% certain what is off, just that it is off. I suppose the best bet would be to go chronologically, although my recommendation would to not be to do it chronologically. Simply based on the severity of the difficulty. I think learning more about what you're getting into is going to behoove you in the long run. The first incident takes place prior to your written history, involving a man by the name of Aurelian McDermott, and having to do with the creation of the Red Dragon Inn.
Sorry, what was this dude's name?
Aurelian McDermott.
Aurelian?
Yep.
And the creation of the inn.
And the creation of the Red Dragon Inn, yes.
Cool.
It's been around for a long time.
It has indeed been around for a long time. Actually, it has been around since before the current age and recorded history. The second instance takes place during the very first epic, the rise of the Orc Lord, if you will, having to do with a young group of individuals, a young group of adventurers, who have a lot of impact on history as it continues forward. the individuals in question named Kai Ravenskull, Maven, and Saral.
You got the world in trouble.
The third incident takes place
Hey, now.
during
We
the
fixed it so many times, it's okay.
Rise of the Undead, incidentally still involving Kai and Saral, and a couple of other individuals.
So you're saying we need to take out this Kai and Saral, because they seem to be causing a lot of problems in the history line.
They're important to history. Taking them out would be ill-advised. It's circumstances surrounding their involvement that you need to look into.
Okay.
So keep them alive.
I would say yes, keeping them alive at all costs would be the best bet.
But stop whatever they did wrong.
Exactly. To remove them from history would simply, honestly, make things go a lot faster in terms of the forgetting.
Noted. Wait, did you just say they were in 2 ages?
Yes, it's not that, I mean, they lived for a long time, but in this particular instance, they saw the end of one and saw the beginning of another.
Okay. Sorry, I just did some math in my head about time and...
At this point, though, we are in a space that is outside of time itself. Nothing's going to surprise me.
Hale, I think I might need to take your attitude on this.
The
Maybe
next
sand
incident,
string.
the fourth incident, takes place during the Epic of Demons.
Which epic is that?
That is the third. And that involves a young gnomish wizard by the name of Findright, his companion Disa, and a few other individuals.
So after the epic of undeath, there was an epic of demons.
Yes.
I look over at Hale.
You know, again, in a room outside of time, clearly there are more epics afterwards, so the world survives, I guess.
We fix the undead part and bring in demons. That seems like a flaw.
Oh, it gets better. After the demons is the devils. And this one is a far more insidious era, as the devils work their way into the very fabric of society. Anyway, that involves a series of individuals, including a young man by the name of Mactus Tirbo.
Okay.
An Ursme, a Ruby, a Danik, and an orc named Orc, but he spells it with a K.
Cool, cool, cool.
After that, he looks over at Lyle. After that is what will become known as Godfall. Does not directly involve these 7 individuals, but some of the things that they had to deal with in their wake are a little strange. But that involves Mordecai, Wolf, Kazuma, Saral again, and yes, it is the same one.
Are we sure we're not supposed to off this one?
Justinian, and Kobar. Yes, I'm pretty sure you don't want to off her. You especially do not want to off her.
Well, yeah, of course I don't want to offer, but honestly, as Anise is looking at this, it's like, this one seems like a troublemaker, which is not untrue. But Anissa doesn't know that she's like good on the level of super good, just chaotic.
However, one would note if this person is showing up in several of these miasma moments, provided we make a good impression the first time, that may help things down the line.
Oh, yeah, if we meet her earlier.
Just something to ponder. However, if we also screw it up poorly, that will, I imagine, make things much more difficult.
Probably true. So you said that you don't suggest going in chronological order, but in order of severity. So any insight into that?
And also, just to
Yes.
quickly verify, the Mordecai Wolfstraw, was that the 5th epic?
Yes.
And what epic is this hero from?
Prior to written history. No, sorry. That was
No.
the other thing.
That's the Harrow himself does not factor into any of the epics. He or didn't. You'll find him in the Age of Enlightenment, which is technically where I plucked Anissa from. But he's currently trapped, which is part of the reason why I thought maybe it would be a good training exercise. He can't. Well, he's in an enclosed space. It's contained, so to speak.
That does mean that he doesn't have much place to run to, so he might not be
Doesn't
able...
feel like very much fun.
I mean...
Quick.
Hi, baby.
I have a question.
Yes.
So since this is all interesting timey-wimey stuff, it truly doesn't matter what order we do any of it in, because we're going to go point into whatever time we're supposed to be to deal with it, correct?
Correct.
If we screw it up, can you just go poink, poink, and try again?
Unfortunately, it does not work that way. Once things are in motion, they cannot be stopped without creating a significant paradox.
I was just checking, since we're already getting dropped into a time.
It is a valid
conceivably
question.
being pulled back out and, oh, nope, you didn't do it right. Try again.
I will, out of character metagame, as with most time travel storylines, don't think about it too hard. It will fall apart.
Okay, the GM can only prep so much shit. Stop poking at it.
Correct. And again, just like any other time travel narrative, if you think about it too hard, the whole thing falls apart.
It's fair.
That was funny to me.
I feel like I have a stronger case than Looper did, but still not as strong as, like, Back to the Future.
Okay, so severity order.
Yes, severity order would be where I put it in my notes. You'd think I would have put it someplace obvious and intelligent, but I didn't because I am ridiculous at times.
Ridiculous. I'm putting me back here. I'm with you guys.
Where the frick did I put it? Here we go. So his suggestion is, and I'm not going to do it in character. His suggestion is to do. Well, his suggestion is to take out Harrow, who's in the Age of Enlightenment. Then first epic, third epic, fourth epic, second epic, fifth, and then pre-time.
I say we start with his suggestion. He seems to know what's going on far more than we do.
This is true. We are fumbling a bit here.
All right.
Very good. And on that, since we're going to transition to something else, let's take like a 7-minute break. Because I got to pee and refill my water bottle and all that stuff. So yeah, let's take a quick 7-minute break and we'll jump into the next thing. Depending on how this combat goes, we may end a little early. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a quick break. We'll be back in about 7 minutes your time, and we will see you soon.
Folks, we're going to a quick break.
Sorry,
Folks.
inclusive language.
Thank
Folks,
you.
we're going to go to a break. We'll be back in about 7 minutes.